know, I hurt myself in confusion. Let's move on into the next track here, King Crimson. Moving on to the second track, Lament. Of course, Starless and Bible Black. The Great Deceiver left me scrambled, and I'm hoping to come up sunny side up with this one. Yeah, I'm still dumbfounded by Great Deceiver, so I'm curious to see where this goes. Lament, let's just let it rip. It was building into it. We'll let the last few seconds play. Here we go.
Publishers would spread the news and print my music.
This one's definitely more palatable, I'll say that. Even the hand claps. That shark in the water. Okay, Lament. Lament is definitely more palatable to me. Doesn't leave me as confused, doesn't leave me as thrown all over the place like paint just splashed upon walls. Now I'm settling. Now we can dive into this. Because, alright, like I say, King Crimson reinvents themselves all the time. So I have to get my toes used to being in this water. Then from toes we can get a foot, and then from foot, leg, and then slowly hips and lower it even still. So Lament is definitely my ankle in the water, and I'm getting the temperature on this one because it starts us off a little bit more like, you know, it's a little bit of a better entry level position to get into the track with the soft, more palatable entry, and then eventually we get into some of those weird hits. The squonky bass. I enjoy the way that Wetton sings here. I like the Mellotron being splashed behind everything. Bruford bringing in the seemingly random bits of percussion, like just a scrapyard brought in like Gates of Delirium and just hitting on the cowbells, this and that. I really like that. I like that atmosphere that Bruford, specifically in this case, brings in that particular section. I just really like that kind of scrappy feeling that he brings into this. Because what I'm hearing so far, there is a little bit of a silliness to it. There's a little bit of a cartoon energy, I would say, and not in a disrespectful way, but not taking ourselves so seriously. Why not lean into this particular side of music? Why not play towards this? Kind of like how Zappa would do so with some of his comedic touches. I think that, in a way, Crimson are doing something similar, not necessarily towards comedy or satire, but just exploring a new space, which you would expect out of no other band except King Crimson to do that. And I think that like this track kind of is that solid ground. I think this track kind of shows what they're doing with great affair. Like I said, I'm really stuck on Bruford and his drumming, but obviously Fripp bringing in the guitar, like I said, the Mellotron and all those other touches that he creates this atmosphere. And even though it gives you time to dwell, it's not afraid to go into these random directions that are still hard to follow, but a little easier. That heavy riff that comes in halfway through and then comes back later on near the ending is really nice. I like that kind of, I don't know, the pitching down, I guess, or up, that transition that comes in and then leads into the next section. Wetton comes back in. It's, you gotta admit, whether you like him or hate him, King Crimson are always progressing, always pushing forward, trying something new, sometimes to good effect, sometimes maybe not, but they are always doing something and not afraid to experiment a little bit. I guess I tried to show you how I'd take the crowd with my guitar, and businessmen would clap their hands and clip another fat cigar. And publishers would spread the news and print my music far and wide. All the kids who play the blues would learn my licks with a bottleneck slide. But now it seems the bubbles burst, although you know there was time. Love songs gathered in my head, poetry in every line. And strong men strove to hold the doors, while with their friends I passed that reach, when people stomped on dirty floors before I trod the rock and roll stage. Like, he tried to be a rock and roll star. He tried to take the easy way, maybe make the easy, accessible, catchy songs, but now it's time for something else, perhaps. I'll thank the man who's on the phone, and if he's got some time to spend, the problem I'll explain once more and indicate a sum to lend. That 10% is now a joke, maybe 30, even 35. I'll say my daddy's had a stroke. He'd have one now if only he was alive. Now the record company's taking advantage of the musicians and the artists. I like the way you look at me, you're laughing too, down there inside. I took my chance and you took yours. You crewed my ship, we missed the tide. I like the way the music goes, there's a few good guys who can play it right. I like the way it moves my toes, just say when you want to go and dance all night. So I feel like there's also probably a little bit of an autobiographical touch in this song, perhaps talking about King Crimson and maybe some of the things that they were running into at the time. Let's see if that is true. Let's just give it a quick Control F, see if anything pops up here. It says, Lament is about fame. Well, that's... I guess I could have, I could have guessed that. It says, the only songs recorded entirely in the studio were the first two tracks, The Great Deceiver and Lament. So I guess the rest of them were actually originally recorded live at different performances, which we'll, of course, find and listen to as we move on. I think that was, that's the only thing that says there about that. All right, so cool. Yeah, Lament, definitely an easier landing strip, definitely a better trajectory, at least for me personally. Let's see where the rest of it goes. Let me know what you thought of the track in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter, support the channel on Patreon. Thank you so much as always for being here, and I will see you all later, guys. Bye.